body is ready.
Excellent. Well, everybody, thank you and welcome to episode 23 of Sprites, Bytes, and Pixels. I am back. Wilson's back. Our special guest, John, is back. We've got some exciting topics to talk to you guys about today. And today is all about technology. So it's like, what kind of technology has helped move gaming, not only gaming, but video game collecting forward as a whole. So exciting topics, exciting talks. But before we get into it, we're going to go into our video games that we've been playing recently. Wilson, I'll start with you. I'm pretty sure I know what the answer is, but I'll let you take it away.
So in the last episode, I said I was playing Dragon Quest XI. But I also got a birthday gift because it was my birthday last week on the 19th of June. So now you know what, at least around what day this episode was recorded on. My wife asked me what I was interested in. I'm always like, I can buy my own stuff, but whatever. I was like, you know what? I've been considering getting an Apple TV. And I wanted an Apple TV because I have a subscription to Apple Arcade. So I can play games on my iPad or on my iPhone, but if I wanted to play it on a TV, like through AirPlay, it would there'd be like a little bit of a lag. So I'd press something and then I'd move. I'd press something and then I'd move. Like it was like very, very back and forth, like trying to figure out. It'd be like very, very back and forth. Like if I was trying to play like a platformer or something. And Apple Arcade has some really, really cool games on it. So I've also been playing on my Apple TV. It's an Apple TV 4K. I was playing World Ends Club, which is a visual novel style game with a little bit of platforming, a little bit of puzzle solving. I'm really, really enjoying that. And that's a game that's also on the Switch. Apple Arcade is like, it's got a lot of games that you could play on like other consoles, but I'm paying like $6 or $7 a month, and I can play like all of these different games.
Well, it's good for someone like you who doesn't have a lot of choice in what to play.
Nothing at all.
Nor a lot of games. He doesn't have a ton of games at home.
No, I feel like the subscription model is, it's built for people in your situation.
I'm surprised Wilson doesn't emulate everything.
Yeah.
I do have some emulated consoles, but yeah, for the most part, I do enjoy my physical stuff. But, Apple Arcade, in the position I'm in right now, because of my back, like I don't want to really move around a lot. So I kind of just play my games like right there on Apple Arcade, World Ends Club, a deep sea diving game called Beyond Blue. I'm playing Legend of the Skyfish 2, which is kind of a Zelda game.
Is the Skyfish sleeping?
I don't really know. I think the Skyfish is evil.
So you're not on an island trying to wake the Skyfish?
No.
Okay.
No, nothing like that, no. But yeah, I've also been playing, I was going to bring this up. I was talking about in an episode or 2 episodes ago, I was playing some stupid game called Travel Town. It's a mobile game. I put a lot of stupid time into that game. So I got to like level, I want to say I was at like level 40 something or level 50 something. And you're getting levels by like doing missions for people. So it's not like, beat a level. Like it's not like beating a level. It's like gaining levels. So I was like level 40, level 50 or something. They did an update a couple days back. And when you update it, they added so many new things and like changed everything about, or kind of a few things about the game, but they said it was like so fundamental that they reset everybody's progress back to 0. So now I'm back to 0 on this stupid mobile game. I was pissed.
Quitting time.
No, unfortunately, I'm still playing because I'm an idiot. But yeah, like everything I had earned is gone. I had like all of these items that you get for as like rewards for doing certain things that I can't use anymore. I had all these gems. I had all of these like, I don't know, extras and now I can't. Like they're gone. They're gone. So that's one of the fun things about mobile games. A lot of times when you play a mobile game, they'll reset the game or they'll reset your progress because an update it like changes so much about the game that they're kind of forced to. You don't see that really with console games.
You don't. John, what are you playing?
I am playing for the Switch Katamari Damacy Reroll,
Nice.
which is an HD upgrade of the PlayStation 2 game, where you play as a space prince who pushes a little ball around that gathers items with its gravitational pull. And as it gets larger, the pull increases, and you can attract larger items. So you get this giant ball of stuff clustered together. And the bigger it gets, the more you progress into the game. And throughout the game, you're constantly being ordered around and berated by your father, the king of all cosmos, because that's what I feel I really need in my life, is a father figure to just talk down to me and tell me how shitty I am. It's good.
It's a really cool concept though, because like you start with this like really small thing. It's like it's only like Bugs Bunny cartoons or something. You see a snowball going down a hill and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's kind of the concept of Katamari Damacy. It's sort of a small thing and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the bigger it gets, the different items that you can roll over.
Yeah, the precise moment when a level becomes really fun is the moment your Katamari becomes large enough to attract living things and they flee in terror. So, first it's the animals scurrying away from you as you push your ball and it sucks them into the giant mass of a ball. But then once you get people, right, and they have, audio clips of people screaming, ah! And they run away and they cannot escape. There's a really sadistic side to it, but it's all so good-natured and friendly as some happy music plays and you're trapping hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of people into your giant ball, sucking up buildings, islands, mountain ranges. It gets huge.
The soundtrack is pretty unique. Like you don't hear many things that sound like the Katamari Damacy soundtrack. It's just very, very whimsical, but like also very, very weird at the same time.
Some levels you'll have hip hop. Some levels you'll have jazz and scat and doo-wop. Like it's all over the place.
Yeah, it really, really is. Now I've never played Katamari Damacy, but I have played certain games like it. It reminds me of a game I played on the Xbox 360 called Tornado Outbreak. And that's actually also on the Wii as well. It's different. Like you play as like this tornado and you got to like destroy. You started with destroying small things. And then you got like the more things you destroy, the bigger your tornado gets and the more bigger things that you can destroy.
What's the control scheme like? Because I mean, the control scheme is what really makes Katamari interesting.
Yeah, I think it's decent. I played it so long ago, I actually don't remember.
In Katamari, you're using the 2 analog sticks, and based on which direction you press each one, controls which way you push it. So if you push both sticks forward, the ball goes forward. Both sticks back, the ball goes back. If you move the sticks in opposite directions, it'll turn it. If you click the L3 and R3 together, it'll turn around in 180 degrees. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So the more you practice with it, the more precise your control of the ball gets, because it gets really unwieldy as it gets larger and less round.
I don't think Tornado Outbreak was like that. I think it was just the ball, one for the camera, one for the movement of the tornado. Yeah, but each level was like pretty expansive as well, but it was timed. Like I'm pretty sure Katamari Damacy is timed as well, right?
Yeah. They give you a time limit and they give you a goal. You must reach 3 meters in 7 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Sweet. So I guess it's my turn.
Yes.
I am going back to my roots. You guys know how much I love tactics-based games. So I swear I put it here. Where did I put it? I have gone back Fire Emblem,
Oh
Oh,
my!
wow.
the OG. I love it. It's such a great game. I've probably beaten it like 2 or 3 times already. So I was debating between going through Fire Emblem the original or going to Three Houses again. For those of you that don't know, I like to play on the hardest difficulty, and I don't like losing any of my troops. So I've gotten pretty good at that with the newer iterations of the game. But I thought I'd throw it way back and go back to the OG and try to beat it again, because that's where my love for Fire Emblem and like tactics-based games started.
If you're into hardcore tactics games,
XCOM.
XCOM, Into the Breach.
Okay.
Into the Breach is good because it's not long. You can beat
Yeah.
the whole game in half an hour.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
If you play it right, it's very, very difficult, but if you play it right, yeah, you can, like, each level is, or each mission is like pretty short. I don't play a lot of strategy tactics games, if any, but Into the Breach is something that I have considered trying.
Yeah,
It's not-
it's you get a 3 mech party and you're fighting against bugs. So it's like Starship Troopers, and each mech operates completely differently, and you have to use them in tandem with each other to either move the bugs around on the map, line them up for a kill shot, or depending on which team of mechs you use, they all have a different theme. Some are just brute force, smash and shoot. Some are fire themed, where you just want to set as much stuff on fire as possible, and over time everything will burn to death.
Okay.
And so on and so on. So it's really neat in that regard that you can play the game over and over again with different teams and have a different experience.
Sweet. I will give that a shot. I also have XCOM waiting in the wings for me. I know both of you guys recommended that game for me as well.
And one more that I always like to plug is Valkyria Chronicles.
Is that good? I'm pretty sure I have Valkyria Chronicles 2 on the Switch.
Yeah, I mean the first one is one of my favorite games on the PS3.
Okay.
Valkyria Chronicles 4 on the Switch is also great. The second and third games, they're kind of like, they're decent, but you can skip them.
They're on the PSP as well, so they're a little more niche.
Okay.
But like Valkyria Chronicles is a really nice looking game. I think it still holds up on the PS3. It's just it's like cell shaded, or they're like really pleasant graphics, kind of like Dark Cloud in a way.
They use a watercolor motif for it. It looks really beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, it reminds me of Dark Cloud 2, like the way Dark Cloud 2 was done. Valkyria Chronicles reminds me of that. But yeah, it's a little bit more watercolor. It's a little bit more not faded, but like, I don't know. It's just this like nice effect that kind of looks like you're looking at not a painting, but just like an artistic like version of a game.
You're playing an anime.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll give that a shot. I love that kind of artistic style.
Robin, have you played Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle?
Nope, never.
It's another good one.
That's a tactics-based game?
Yeah, dude. I'm surprised you have. That's like that has changed a lot of people's perspectives on tactics games.
That's on the Switch, right?
Yep.
Well, it has all. It's sort of like Into the Breach in the sense that your units are different and you play them off each other to get an advantage. For example, I think it's Luigi who's really mobile and he's good at jumping and bouncing off of characters. Mario is more of a damage character, and then there's one character who's got a lot of movement around the board, and every time he comes into contact with an enemy, he does a little bit of damage. So he's constantly running around the board, dinging an enemy for a small bit of damage.
Okay. Now I have many tactics-based games to fall back on, and I don't have to play the entire Fire Emblem series from beginning to end for like the umpteenth time. Have you guys ever played Final Fantasy Tactics?
Yes.
Yes, one. That is one of the toughest tactics games I've ever played. It is nuts how hard that game is.
It's a tough one. Wilson, do you want to tell the story about Tactics Ogre? Final Fantasy Tactics? Do you know the story?
Don't No, I don't.
Okay, so I think the developer is called Quest. Don't quote me on that. And they developed a sequel to Ogre Battle for the Super Famicom that was eventually localized on the PlayStation 1 called Tactics Ogre. It was a really cool game. And Squaresoft poached the designer. And so he went from Enix to Square, and he took his design with him.
Oh, shit.
So Final Fantasy Tactics is a carbon copy of Tactics Ogre.
Oh.
And Tactics Ogre is actually the harder game because it has permadeath.
Similar to Fire Emblem?
Yeah. Like your character dies, they die. But the game looks like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Okay.
But that's on the it's on the PS1 and the PSP.
All right.
There's a good chance that Ogre Battle, the one for Super Nintendo, is that March of the Black Queen?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Ogre Battle is actually the first tactics game I ever played, and I actually really enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun with that. I enjoyed like finding hidden areas. Maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much. But the combat system was really neat.
Yeah, and it had a lot of modifiers that a traditional strategy game wouldn't have.
Yeah,
like morale. You know, if you put your monsters with your human units, they're gonna hate each other. Or alignments, where if you're constantly, beating up on weak units with your superpowered party, you're evil, right? You're just going around crushing fools. You're evil. Whereas if it's a close battle, your alignment goes up because you're fighting a brave battle. Yeah, there's a lot going on in that game.
I didn't know that.
Neither did I. All right. So we've got we touched on some of our favorite games that we're currently playing. Now let's touch on something different, which is just talking about technology that has helped not only evolve video games, but evolve video game collecting. I know John's been itching at this like opportunity to bring up like his favorite moment in his life where he helped support a fundraising campaign, and it turned out even better than he could have imagined.
Oh my. We're just going to jump into Kickstarter.
We are, 100%.
Oh, man. Yeah. So I backed Mighty Number 9, which was, I think it was, if not the first game, one of the first games by Concept, the company run by Keiji Inafune, who was one of the creators of Mega Man. I think he was the artist on the original Mega Man game. And after he left Capcom, I mean, Japan's got a culture where, they were so offended by him leaving that they let Mega Man die on the vine in his absence. They said, if you're going to leave, we're going to starve out your creation. He said, okay, well, I will create my own Mega Man, right? This Mighty Number 9 character who's very, very much a knockoff of Mega Man. He looks like him. He plays like him. All of the supporting characters are knockoffs of Mega Man supporting characters, right? It's very, very obvious what he's doing. And he launched this huge campaign on Kickstarter, back when Kickstarter was fairly new, with really impressive looking concept art, saying we're going to make a new Mega Man game by the guy who was one of the creators of Mega Man. And because it was early, they made two mistakes. One was they underestimated how much money it would cost to make a game. I think they had a $3 million goal, which is peanuts in the world of game development. And in their stretch goals, they included ports to every platform, ports to the PS3, ports to the 3DS, to the Vita, the Wii U. So what would have been probably pretty good as a PC-only game got really watered down because they wanted to make it work on all the platforms. So all of a sudden you have a 3DS game running on a PC that looks like garbage. It's unpolished because they had to devote resources, their developers, to porting instead of actually building the game. And the business mistake that Inafune made was he was relying on Kickstarter money to pay for his company. So even before that game came out, he launched a second Kickstarter for a follow-up game, hoping to get money to pay his staff to build another game, instead of working with a publisher, having the publisher pay his staff, the money comes in, work on the next one. So he lost a lot of goodwill doing that, putting up a second Kickstarter while the first game was still not delivered. And when it finally did come out, they had to go the traditional publisher route. They got Deep Silver involved. So anyone who had backed the game on Kickstarter was paying more money than they would have buying the game at retail. So I don't think anyone was happy with that. I don't think Inafune was happy. I mean, he had to sell the company, and the fans got a lousy game for more money than they wanted to spend.
And how do you like the game yourself, John?
So it was so buggy, the Wii U version, that it was bricking systems. So because I was afraid of bricking my Wii U, I actually have not played it.
What about you, Wilson? Do you love the game?
I've actually never played Mighty Number 9. I believe I own it for the Wii U. I do have the PS4 version. I don't know if I have the 3DS version. Maybe.
No, the 3DS version never came out.
The 3DS wasn't like a download or something?
I don't think they, and I think they gave up on it.
Oh.
I think they gave all of the 3DS backers like a code for some other platform or their money back.
So the worst part about this game is that there was a pretty big clearance at Walmart, I think like 3 or 4 years ago, where Wii U games were like $9.99. So I was checking up all the local Walmarts and like, let me pick up some like cool titles. And the only title they ever had in stock was Mighty Number 9, because nobody wanted to touch that, even for $10.
It's just one of those games where they promised so much and it failed to deliver, a good Mega Man game. Luckily, the main character Beck has been in, I don't know if it's been multiple games, but he's in another one called Mighty Gunvolt Burst, and that's I don't want significantly better than Mighty Number. I don't want to say if it's significantly better than Mighty Number 9, but it's better in many ways compared to Mighty Number 9. Will I play it ever? Mighty Number 9? I don't know. I have other better games that I can play. Now there are some people that do appreciate the game. They don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be, but for the most part, the consensus is it's not good.
Yeah,
I hear it's not bad. It's just not Mega Man.
Yeah,
I mean, just the bar is so high when you come out guns blazing, saying, "Hey, we're going to make the successor to one of the most popular and celebrated game franchises of all time." Like, you better deliver. Oh, and by the way, we're depending on you, the fans, to fund it.
Yeah,
that's a tall order.
It's a very tall order.
I do hear that the bosses are difficult, but I don't know. That still doesn't really appeal to me.
So if that doesn't appeal to you, Wilson, is there a piece of technology that you would say either helped you advance video game collecting, or you feel as though advanced video games in totality?
Well, going on the whole Kickstarter approach, because I guess that's where we're starting, I will say there have been some phenomenal games made through the help of Kickstarter. Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night was a really cool, like, Symphony of the Night duplicate. Like, it was like a nice homage to the Castlevania series.
Unless you're a Switch owner.
I do hear that it has gotten better over time. I never did grab the Switch version because I had heard about the bugs, but I do hear it's better than when it came out. They fixed up a lot. I enjoyed my time with my PS4 version. But then there was also like the side ones, Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon, The new one coming out for physical, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2, which are more the old school Castlevania style, namely Dracula's Curse, which was Castlevania 3. I feel like it more pertains to that game.
Well, here's the thing, because you've mentioned Mighty Gunvolt as well.
Yes.
Is that, both the Mighty Gunvolt franchises, because there's two of those, and the Curse of the Moon games were developed by a different studio.
I believe Mighty Gunvolt is Inti Creates.
Yeah, Inti Creates, which is, ex-Capcom employees who do the Mega Man Zero games.
Yeah, they also do Blaster Master.
So, they've got their engine in place. They've got their processes in place. They're not a new studio being started by, a disgruntled ex-Capcom or ex-Konami employee going out on their own.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're going to get a higher standard of quality right off the bat. And also because they're less ambitious. I mean, they're 2D sprite games. How hard can it be to screw those up?
That's true. But
yeah.
there are other games that have been made like through Kickstarter. What's that one? Was, I believe, Hyper Light Drifter was a Kickstarter game. Cosmic Star Heroine, really cool RPG, was a Kickstarter game.
Time Spinner.
Yes, Time Spinner. That's a really good Metroidvania that started off as a Kickstarter game. So Kickstarter has made a lot of games, but because of the situation that I dealt with, I used to be a frequent supporter of Kickstarter campaigns. I put a lot of money into certain things. I got a pretty cool hoodie from supporting this guy called Video VG Piano Man. He did like piano compositions of like famous video game songs. And one of the things was to get a sweater. So I still have that. It's a really cool hoodie. Maybe I'll wear it in a future episode. But after the situation that happened with a game called Night and I want to say it's Night and the 100 Lights or Night and the Forgotten Lights, I will never ever support another Kickstarter.
What's the story with this one?
Essentially, it was supposed to be like a claymation kind of exploration game. It looked really neat, but they never delivered. I think I put close to $300.
What?
Towards like one of the better options. It was going to be like they were going to do a design. Like I sent in a picture, and the artist was going to do a recreation of that picture and send it back to me. It was going to be like a not poster size, but like a nice size. I was going to frame it. I think you were going to get a map. I think you were going to get like a figurine. I tried logging into Kickstarter just now, but I don't remember my password. That's how long it's been since I've used Kickstarter. You were going to get all these like really cool things, and there was an update on they would update people from time to time, but there was an update, and it was just basically like, I can't do this anymore. I don't have the money, blah, 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 blah. And you had all these people commenting saying, yeah, that's cool. I hope you feel better. And I commented, I said, okay, I'm one of those people that put a lot of money into this. Like, I'm not happy with this. Like, why? How do I want a refund? Because I think they said in their post, like, we'll try to get refunds back, and nothing came from this.
How much did that game raise? Do you remember?
It raised its goal. I don't remember what the goal was.
Okay.
But they did reach their goal.
Okay.
But ever since that, I will never ever jump on another Kickstarter.
Here's the catch with Kickstarter is that you are not pre-ordering. You are not buying a product. You are basically acting as a de facto publisher, and you're taking on a risk. So you'll get a game like there's one called 90s Arcade Racer.
Yeah, I know about that one.
And that one, what happened? It went into development hell, and it got picked up by a publisher, and the publisher tried to reprogram it. The developer left the project. And I think at some point, backers were given a download code for another game. But yeah, people were left out in the cold on that one. There's one I've been following pretty closely called Cydonia. And that one's had a lot of trouble. I think the developer had a death in the family. But, life happens. And these small indie studios can't always roll with the punches, which leaves people disappointed. So while it's great to give, an indie a leg up and some support off the bat, it doesn't come without its risks.
Absolutely.
And I've seen on many occasions where a studio, like a larger studio, will use Kickstarter to gauge interest.
Yep.
Just to see how many people are interested in this game. There was one called, I think it was called Project Rap Rabbit. And it was the designer of Parappa and Unjammer Lammy. And that game, all he had was a couple design documents, some drawings. And people were really turned off by that because there was so much risk involved that the game wasn't funded.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting. So there's pros and cons too. Sorry?
It was called Night and the Ghost Lights. That's the one I funded.
And it doesn't tell you what they raised?
$43,768.
Wow.
That's not gonna pay for a game. That's so low.
Yeah. I don't know what you'd be like. Maybe you can do an app at most.
Yeah. I mean that gets you one junior developer for a year, to be honest.
Yeah.
Last update was 2 years ago, November 8th, 2019.
Yeah, no, I mean it's
oh, sorry, no. It would have been February 6th, 2020. But do you guys know the story about Tiny Metal?
No.
You've both heard of Tiny Metal?
I've heard of Tiny Metal.
So Tiny Metal was created through the Kickstarter funding of another game called Project Phoenix. Project Phoenix was going to be this like RPG, really cool game from like all of these creators of like all of these other games. Like there were these, it's kind of like a super team. They had people from people who had helped with Metal Gear Solid. I believe people would help with Final Fantasy. People who had helped with The Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
Like the movies. Like, people who had like really, really contributed to the entertainment industry. And they were going to do this like crazy cool RPG game called Project Phoenix. Almost all of that money went into Tiny Metal.
That's shady.
So that's why, even though it looks like a cool game, I will never buy Tiny Metal.
And they weren't upfront about that. They just like funneled the money.
There was, investigation, behind the scenes, the internet community, in like different forums. I want maybe Reddit, maybe stupid dog. Other things, kind of doing their detective mode, but I don't think there was anything ever confirmed officially.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so maybe we've had a good amount of discussion about Kickstarter and like the shortcomings of Kickstarter. Why don't we talk about some tools that have really helped propel video game collecting forward? And I can go first. There's one that stands out to me right off the bat, and that is social media. I think social media has played a huge role in helping people unearth hidden treasures, grow their collections, build communities, and just see what else is out there. Like I wouldn't have discovered either of you guys if it wasn't for social media.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, I wouldn't know a lot of my friends without social media. Like I used to be, I was always looking for people to talk about games with, and I had some friends on Facebook, and I wasn't really in any groups. And one day I was like, why don't I join a video game group? There's got to be other people who enjoy video games as much as I do. And that's why I started joining all of these Facebook groups to like find other people who are just as passionate about it as I am.
And I think, when you talk about social media, I think the big player that everybody thinks about is Facebook. But what I'm seeing is more and more Instagram is becoming almost like a marketplace for video games. If you follow certain hashtags, you can see video games that are available for sale. They won't pop up on Facebook. They won't pop up on eBay. And it's almost like an honor system through Instagram because you don't really see the person's actual name. It's, I trust you to make this transaction. Do you have references? Because you're just going off of a profile. So, it's I think Instagram is changing things. I think TikTok is changing things. Are you guys familiar with DK Oldies in the States?
Yeah.
So it's like a video game store that buys and sells like retro video games. And they just started a TikTok account, and all they do is just like random retro video game stuff, and it's really popular. I think one of they had a video up, and it was talking about like how you can either position a PS2 horizontally or vertically, which we all know. But then they did something that was just really simple, and they just like turned the PlayStation symbol. And a lot of people don't know that you can change that based on the orientation of your PlayStation. And like people's minds were blown. And TikTok is this new technology that's coming out, but they're kind of leveraging it to showcase more information about the retro video game scene, which I thought was really cool.
I thought, so you said you saw this on their Instagram page?
TikTok.
So they did the logo thing on the TikTok?
Yeah.
So I knew that there was DK Oldies had a Facebook page. I didn't know that they had a TikTok.
It's actually pretty popular. Let me take a look at it. DK Oldies.
I did know about that logo thing. I was really surprised when I learned that people didn't know about that. But then again, you didn't know about that thing about playing burnt discs on the PS1.
Yeah. So I just checked. DK Oldies has 289,000 followers on TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts, and it's just they do like ASMR. So taking a disc, opening a PS2 game, popping the disc out, putting it into a PS2, pushing the CD, and the tray going back in. The sound of that, then the PlayStation sign coming on. You clicking the PlayStation controller. So it's like a complete nostalgia trip.
I love that the PlayStation loading the logo. It's still probably one of the best sounds like out there for video games. I just love it so much.
Yeah.
What about I feel that way about the Super Nintendo Konami logo with the little jingle and the line.
Oh, I love yeah, that's a really nice one. And it's got to be the Super Nintendo one. Like, you can't have it from the Genesis. You can't have it from like other consoles that do that, but like a different like pitch.
Yeah.
It has to be the Super Nintendo one. Yeah, I completely agree with you. That's
Or
a really
the first party Nintendo. Very simple. Bling. And Nintendo presents Super Mario World.
Oh, ding. Yeah. Okay, like the coin noise.
Yep. You just pop it up there with the Nintendo logo. I think Mario Kart has it. Zelda.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
You remember this stuff. Another piece of technology that's really changed the way I've looked at, my gaming experience, or at least complementing it, is YouTube, because I can go onto YouTube and get a variety of video reviews on a game that I'm interested in.
Yep.
Because I play a lot of indies, so I want to know what's good and what's crap, and IGN's not going to write about all the indies.
No.
But there's so many people with channels, and they'll show gameplay footage, they'll share their thoughts. I can watch 3 of them and make my own decision based on what they're saying. Like, maybe this person doesn't like the game, but I can tell by watching them play that they're shitty. So
I mean, I love YouTube as well for a couple of reasons. One is sometimes I get really stuck on a specific map and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. So I'll go to like a walkthrough and be like, okay, what exactly do I do? How do I get through this? I see Wilson shaking your head, but it's nothing it's the same as going to like Game Facts back in the day, or going through your strategy guide. The way that I see it.
Oh, totally. No, when I was trying to beat the first Gradius a couple weeks ago, I was really struggling with the 4th level, and then I found a safe spot that you can park your ship, right? And then like, okay, this one part that I'm struggling with, it is possible to get through it. This is how you do it. And then I beat the rest of the game on my own. So
there you go. See, that's what I do sometimes too. And then I think the other aspect is when it comes to like retro video games, when I was first getting into it, I didn't know a lot of things. I didn't know how to like open up an N64 cartridge and tell if it's an authentic board or a fake board, or how to tell if this game is real or this game is fake. So I used to go onto YouTube a lot and just go through all the how-to tips. Like, how do you take apart an N64 system to clean it? How do you take apart an N64 game? What do you do to verify the authenticity of a game? And those videos don't get a ton of views. They maybe get like 10 or 15,000, but they were really beneficial to me when I first started.
I use YouTube a lot for like learning how to do certain things, like burning discs. When I was editing these podcasts, like in the beginning, I was looking up ways to do certain things to make them better. There's it's actually very difficult to take stuff from the iPhone and put it onto a computer, and vice versa. Like it's a little bit, it's not as easy as people think it is. Just things like that. And I'm not gonna lie, very rarely do I, but sometimes when I'm really, really stuck in something, or I'm worried that if I pursue, I'm going to miss out on something, I do go online to see, if like what I should do. Like, certain situations where you're like, there's an item right here, but there's something right here. Am I going to miss out on this item if I continue going? Like the situation where you want to get, the full experience. YouTube's great though. Like speed runs, John's right, reviews, like with the indie reviews. Like I love Noisy Pixel. I Dream of Indie, Nintendo World TV. Those guys do a lot of good reviews for indie games.
Bullet Heaven's another really good one.
Well, for a guy that likes the bullet hells, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I do like them, but not to the extent that you do. You love your shooters, for sure.
It's also great for taking a look at like trailers. So your favorite games coming out, take a look at trailers, see what's coming out. You missed out on the E3 conference. Let's go through YouTube and let's take a look at everything that happened.
I hate when a trailer does not show gameplay.
Oh, me
when
too.
When a trailer shows me just like, cool cinematics, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I really could care. I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's fluff for me. I want to see play. I want to see how the game responds or how the game looks. It drives me nuts. But yeah, trailers are really good. Gameplay, like all that shit.
Yeah.
To help people, because before, all you saw was a box cover, and you were like, oh, that game looks cool, and it turns out to be utter shit. Like we have a little bit more of a better idea on what a game is, because we have like that opportunity to see it at like very, very quickly, instantaneously.
And then Wilson, there was another thing that you touched on, or I think maybe this episode or our last episode, and that was how you keep track of your entire collection.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up on that. So another good thing about people like me who have large collections, there are apps and websites out there for people to keep track of their collections. One of the big ones is Game Eye. People preach about Game Eye all the time. Did you put your hand up, John? Do you use that?
No, I use a site called Backloggery.
Yes, that's right. That's the one you use.
And nice thing about Backloggery is that it helps you keep track of which games you've beaten.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's very player centric, so it doesn't do price listings or anything like that. But you can write down your high score. You can indicate whether you've just gotten to the end credits, or whether you've 100% mastered it. If you're into that kind of thing, you can choose certain games to show up in a now playing section of your page, and it's social. You can add other members to be your friends, and their boxes will show up on your page too, kind of like MySpace. Your top 8, your top 3. And it's just this neat little site.
I tried a few different apps, and I put like all the collection I had at that time on there, and one day the app just would stop working. It would crash, and I would learn that the people who created the app aren't updating it anymore, and the app would essentially go defunct, and I'd have to start from scratch. And that happened 2 or 3 times before I finally said, you know what, I'm done with apps. I'm going to move on to other ways. And I looked online, and I found this website that I've been using for, I want to say, close to a decade now. And it's vgcollect.com. V as in Victor, G as in George, collect.com. And it's a relatively simple app. You can you type in on the search bar, and there'll be a list of items. Like, you could just type in Mario, and all these things related to Mario will come up. And it's not just Mario games, like anything that has Mario in the title. So you just kind of tap on the things that you have, and you just type in, or you tap on add to collection, and boom, it's right there. And it keeps a list of like variety, like the consoles. It keeps a list of nationalities, or sorry, regions. It's really, really cool. And I don't believe it focuses on price either. And if there isn't something in the database which has tons and tons of things, you can add them yourself. So yeah, I've been using that for years. And yeah, like, technology makes it a lot easier to track my collection than what I used to do. And I used to like have a list like written down. But that was like before I had like all of this.
Yeah. Let's throw it back even like earlier than 10 years ago. I think there's one resource that's made video game buying and video game collecting, especially like secondhand video game buying and collecting, a lot easier. And that's eBay. I think eBay has made like a huge difference. If you're a collector, eBay serves 2 purposes. Purpose 1 is you can go in and you can find whatever it is you're looking to buy or sell. And then the second purpose is if you're looking to get an idea of what the price of a specific game is, you can take a look at sold listings. And instead of just throwing numbers at the wall and hoping one of them sticks, it's like, I have concrete data that this is what this game is worth, because this is what somebody's willing to pay for this specific title.
Do you know what my first eBay purchase ever was? It wasn't a video game. It was a hardcore dance CD. It was like, I think it's called Hardcore for the Headstrong Volume 2. And it was like really, really heavy, like hardcore music, like boom, 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 boom. Like it was pretty intense. And yeah, like I and then after that, I just started using eBay more and more often.
Yeah.
Got some pretty great deals. I think my best one is definitely this PSP collection. I think in the end it was like $200 or $300, but it was like all of these really, really good high-end PSP RPGs, which came in a case, came with this PSP. Yeah, it was a really, really good deal. I felt sorry for the guy too, because like, I'm sure he expected it to sell for more.
Yeah.
I used eBay to buy a lot of imports.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to buy a game like Parodius or Twinbee, I could do that, and I would find a storefront in Japan, and I would bundle together a bunch of items and just have a big package shipped to me.
Nice.
So yeah, breaking down borders, eBay's been good for that.
Yeah. I think go ahead.
Sorry, it's also a great way to find like cords or adapters,
yes,
or just things you require for your system, because sometimes a game store doesn't have what you need, and when you're only close to like one or two game stores, you're kind of limited on your resources. You could look for others. You could travel to like other places to like try to find them, but a lot of times the item is just so niche that it's a little bit more difficult to find.
Oh yeah, like if you want RGB cables for your Super Nintendo,
Yeah,
And you get them cheap. They're knockoffs, but you get them cheap.
SCART cables especially, they're a little bit more difficult to obtain than like a normal, wire for like a hookup input for your like console.
Yeah, I think like eBay is where I started, and then I transitioned from eBay to Craigslist. And Craigslist was like the wild, wild west of video games. You didn't know half the time what the fuck you were getting. And then I'm glad Kijiji came around because Kijiji is owned by eBay, and they just streamlined that whole like classifieds online process. And I think I started collecting video games in 2009. I want to say around 2009, and that's when I started using Kijiji a lot. And I was finding deals all over the place, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Kijiji was a big source for a lot of people. I found some things, but I think I jumped on Kijiji a little late because a lot of times like you see something and you contact them and it was already gone.
Yeah, I was on Kijiji maybe 2 years after that, and it was less fun by then.
By 2011? Yeah. I think
it's because Robin was there.
Yeah, and my ads were in every city. I'm joking. It was only in the GTA. I'm playing this. Don't hit me that much. But yeah, I remember like Kijiji got to a point when I first started going on to Kijiji, there was way more selling ads than buying ads, and then it got to a point where it was like everybody was buying video games, and like anything that was a decent deal would be sold within like 20 minutes.
Well, I would see ads from retailers saying, I will buy your games, talk to me. I will buy your games every day. I mean, we know who I'm talking about. And, guy basically hoarded the Toronto game market for a couple of years.
Yeah,
for sure. It was, I think it was like definitely a wild, wild west of video game collecting, buying, storing. Up until like 2012, 2013, it was ridiculous. Like back then, they didn't even have top paid ads. It was you just had to put up an ad, and it was like I'm either buying or I'm selling. And I remember whenever I would do like a buying ad, I would get like 20 hits a day. It was ridiculous. But now there's nothing. I don't have it. I only have like sealed buying ads now. That's it.
I really don't even use these. Like I don't use Kijiji or Craig. I think I only use Craigslist one time, and I believe that was for Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings for the DS, and I think I paid like $10 or $15 for it. But the best site that I used to use, which I don't use anymore, was Garage Sale. Garage Sale has probably changed now because I think a lot of people have jumped on board, but I got some really, really good deals from Garage Sale.
Nice. Do you guys have any other technology pieces that we haven't discussed yet?
Just websites in particular. Like there's some really, really good websites out there that are just resourceful for anybody that's into the whole video game community.
Can you give an example?
Well, IGN is one of them. I know IGN gets a lot of flack, and sometimes it is kind of deserved, especially lately with the ways that they've been reviewing their games. And I know that everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but I feel like a lot of times lately the reviews have been more like somebody like they're just on their high horse, and I feel like they need to get off their high horse. It's like they feel. You ever notice right now that people feel they feel like they're entitled to things now, like they're more privileged in a way, like they have these like expectations of things, and if it's not to that high expectation, it's automatically shit. That's how I feel about a lot of reviews that I'm seeing now. But IGN, that being said, is a really good website for anybody that's into video games. Hell, anybody that's into like entertainment, comics. They deal in a lot of like nerd culture stuff.
What I think you're tapping into, Wilson, is a sense of accountability. That if you write for a professional game magazine, you know, what you write better be true. You better have an honest representation of your experience playing a game. You can't just post a knee-jerk takedown because you won't be sent any more review copies of that game. Right? Whereas if you write a fair review, you know, maybe the publisher's mad, you know, and they won't send you any more games, but other publishers will continue to send you games. But if all you do is write knee-jerk, angry takedowns of games, you know, you're not going to keep your job as a game reviewer. And what's happening now, this is almost the dark side of what I was talking about with indie reviews and anyone being able to publish a review, is that you can say whatever you want without any accountability. You don't even have to use your real name. You can just be a voiceover on game footage and talk smack. And a lot of people do that for entertainment. I mean, you look at the comment section of any post anywhere, that is people spouting off without accountability, without having to put their name behind their words. So that's why that's happening, in my opinion.
I think that's a good point.
No, it's a great point. It's a very good point.
I want to talk about something a bit more positive.
Okay.
A technological change that's been great for everyone is the smartphone.
Oh.
In that every person who has a smartphone has a game console. And that there's more opportunity for more people in the world to be gamers. You know, whether they're playing Candy Crush or whatever, or if they're playing XCOM on their phone, which you can do. You know, there are options, and you know, now anyone can be a gamer more than ever. I think that's a great thing. Yeah,
no, I think that's a really good point, and that sparked something else, because it's like we also overlooked something like Steam, because it gives not only people across the world the opportunity to play games, but also develop and publish games for relatively cheap, I would say.
Yeah, if you have $100, you can get 20 good games on Steam, no problem.
Yeah. Especially with Humble Bundles going out.
Yeah. Humble Bundle's amazing. Like it's like you can just give so much money and you'll get all of these games for a really, really amazing price. But going up back to Steam, there were other websites or other companies that tried doing something like Steam, but they didn't do it to great success as Steam did. Do you guys remember, or maybe not, there was a service called OnLive. It was a service that allowed people to stream popular video games, and we're talking, I think this was back when like Assassin's Creed and Arkham Asylum were big. I want to say, so around that time, maybe even earlier than that. Anyways,
that's about 10 years ago.
Anyways, OnLive was this service, and you could. It was even like free. Like there was a free trial you could do for like any game. But I don't believe it ever caught on. I believe, I want to say Sony. Was it Sony? I don't know. Some company bought them out. And I believe OnLive became PlayStation Now. I believe. I'm not too sure, but it's possible. Because after OnLive happened, then like I think there was another one that tried doing it, but Steam kind of succeeded where these other ones didn't. And Steam is amazing. Although Steam isn't streaming though, is it? It's downloading.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. I think that these services will eventually wreck the game industry. as they continue to devalue them. But that's a whole other topic.
It is maybe for another podcast.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, but at the same time, it gives people an opportunity to play a game that they're not able to obtain as easily. Being a person who appreciates physical copies of games, like I don't really use Steam. I actually only opened a Steam account after I won a free download of a game on a mobile game. I played a mobile game, and one of the prizes at the end of beating the game was a mobile game on Steam. So I downloaded Steam or installed Steam on my laptop so I could play that free game. But then I also tried The Binding of Isaac back when it was, just a computer game or a Steam game at that time. And man, did I put a lot of time into that. And I went out and I bought a joypad, so a controller that you can use for your computer. And I got pretty damn hooked. But other than that, I never really jumped on Steam.
I've only used Steam for 2 games. One was Jackbox Games, and then the other one was Catan. And both were just so I could play with my friends.
Wait, Catan, the board game?
Yeah, Settlers of Catan. Well, that's one game I play all the time. I should be talking about that as like the games I'm currently playing. I play like pretty much every single day, at least one match.
Really?
Yeah, it's really fun.
Wow.
Yeah,
I never took you for a board game kind of guy.
Yeah, I really love that game.
A lot of great indies on Steam. I've been playing Jamestown, Blue Revolver.
Nice.
Binding of Isaac. Yeah.
Sweet. Did you guys have any other pieces of technology? I think we covered a pretty wide array.
We were talking about something else earlier, and I was going to bring up something, but I can't remember. God damn it. We were talking about eBay.
Yeah, we talked about eBay, social media, phones, Steam.
Maybe it was... Oh, phones, yeah. Another cool thing about phones, especially with right now, like when Nintendo Switch came out, there was no online service for it. Eventually, Nintendo Online came out, and there was a Nintendo chat thing that you could install onto your smartphone for people to chat, because there was no actual in-game chat for people playing, say, Mario Kart or whatever.
Interesting.
But sadly, a lot of people didn't like that app because it was finicky at times. So they decided to use another service, Discord.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Discord's made a big wave in communication.
It really is.
Yeah.
Reddit as well is another really good community or video game, a great place for anybody who's into video games.
Yeah.
They have a lot of different forums on just about anything you could think of, whether it be a puzzle in a game, whether it be the talking of a game, history of a game. You could get lost in Reddit for years.
You could.
It's just so much in there.
Yeah. I think that's a great point to bring up as well. We've had just eclipsed our 1 hour, 10-minute marker.
Wow.
We had a very long, very lengthy conversation. Thank you, I guess. Thank you everybody for tuning in for this episode. We're at episode 23. It's now been over over a year, I would say, in terms of us. It's been a lot of episodes, and it's been great to have everybody on board. So I want to thank John for joining us once again.
Thanks for having me.
Insight. And Wilson, hopefully your back gets better soon, so you can play some more video games, because clearly you have a big backlog to get through.
Just a bit, just a smidge, tiny smidge, Rooney.
There you go. Awesome. Cheers, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.